Okay, come on, YouTube. Okay, YouTube picked it up, so we are good in two places. Start the webinar. People can start coming in. We can get going, Chuck. We are live on both the platforms.
Cool.
Okay,
Great.
let me start the recording on Zoom. Where is it? Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another EB-5 presentation. This is a sponsored webinar by Growth Axle, the promoters of New 3S project based in New York. I have Chuck Kakani, one of the board members, along with Yukti. And this is our 7th session. We've been doing this session more frequently because of the interest that we have about this project and as well as our aim to educate members of the Happy Schools community about EB-5 process. Hi, Chuck and Yukti. Welcome back. How are you all doing?
Hi, good morning, Raghu. We are doing great and hope you're having a great day as well.
Fantastic, Chuck. Doing good.
Kind of.
Hi, Yukti. How are things with you?
It's going really good.
All right, fantastic. So in this session, compared to the previous 6 sessions we had, we have the replays of all the previous 6. For those of you who are attending this webinar for the first time, I would want you to encourage to go back and watch the Q&A of the previous sessions. So if in case you miss something, that is the most interesting and most fact-finding session that you will find on the previous ones. And of course, we are here to also answer a lot of questions that you may have during the course of the presentation. And also, we have rearranged our presentation in order to explain what EB-5 is all about, so that for somebody who do not know what EB-5 is, so you'll have better understanding of that. Then we'll move on to explain the actual project. All right, Chuck, let's take it from here.
Sure.
So let me share the slides, where it is. There you go. All right. So yeah, the stage is yours, Chuck.
All right. Thank you, Raghu. First of all, we appreciate you having us on your platform. We do know, I think I've known Happy Schools community for a long time. Raghu, more than a decade. I know you have been engaged with this for well over that 1.5 decades plus of experience. So we don't take this lightly. We do know that you do not promote anyone and everyone on this platform, and so we are very privileged and honored to be here. So I just want to thank you first of all, and thank your wonderful community, your audience in Happy Schools, and we really appreciate that. So I'm going to get started, Raghu. Even though we talk about our project, but first we want to explain what EB-5 is. So this is the general disclaimers as any investor doc will have. So if you can move on, we get started with EB-5. Raghu, please feel free to interrupt me
Sure.
as you want to, okay? It's definitely your prerogative to do that. So EB-5 is a investment program in a new commercial enterprise. The wording is precise, by the way. NCE, they call it. A new commercial enterprise that creates jobs. And for us, of course, when we talk about new threes, we will talk a bit later, but it has to create 10 US jobs for every investor putting in our case, $800,000 of investment in the project. So that is what it is. One of the things about EB-5 is the foreign investors, which means non-US persons, means non-green card holders or non-citizens. That is the best pathway compared to today's programs that we have, right, in immigration. So, by the way, you must be familiar with EB-1, EB-2, and EB-3. EB-5, even though it says EB, is really not employment based. It is investment based. The employment is other side, other way around, which means creating 10 US jobs. So you are giving employment to 10 US workers with your $800,000 investment per investor, and that's what secures you a green card, provided some of the conditions are met.
Fantastic. So how is EB-5 different from EB-2 or EB-3 or EB-1, which is something that most of the people are commonly used to hearing?
Yes. So EB-5, Raghu, first of all, the one important difference is it is a petition sponsored by yourself. So in EB-1, EB-2, EB-3, it's an employer petition, right? So EB-5 is a self petition. That means you sponsor, you petition your green card. So that's one important difference. Second thing is there is no step of labor certification. The first step, labor, is avoided in EB-5 because you're not taking jobs from a competitive US people. That's you have to demonstrate in EB-1, EB-2, EB-3 that no such person exists for your job. You know the drill. But in EB-5, it's other way around. So since you are giving the jobs through your investment in a new commercial enterprise, you skip the labor certification. You go to what is called the green card petition. You must be familiar with what is called the I-140, right? If you're in EB-1, EB-2, or EB-3, the equivalent of I-140 is I-526 in EB-5 petition. So that's the difference. You directly move to the equivalent stage of 140, I-140, which is I-526. And second thing is your I-140 in EB-1, EB-2, EB-3 is employer petition. In EB-5, it is a self petition, your own petition.
Got it. All right. Sounds good. So let's talk about an approximate timeline of EB-5 and why it is much faster to get a green card than an EB-2 or EB-3 route.
Yes. As you know, Raghu, as everyone must be familiar with, EB-1, is different a little bit. It's better because the queue, the number of people waiting, right, to apply for their 485 adjustment of status is not that high in EB-1. But that's a very exceptional category of visa, right? Most people don't qualify for EB-1. But most people are familiar with EB-2 and EB-3 categories of green card, of permanent residency. So there you know the problem. Depending on your priority date, if you are recent graduate or recently entering into H1 or recent applicant, your priority date is within the last 5 years, let's say, or 6, even 7 years, right? Or even 9, I would say, Raghu, going back to 2015, 2016, the ability, even though you must have got your 140 approved, in some cases people have a 140 approved, it doesn't mean too much. It gives you the H1B extension, of course, right? But you can't apply for 485, the adjustment of status, because your priority date is not current. Whereas in EB-5, the good news is for most categories, the priority date is current for most countries, all the countries as it stands now, including India. It's a current priority date. Raghu, you usually show USCIS.
That's exactly what I have the screen pulled up. I'm going
Yes.
to share the
Please,
visa
yeah.
bulletin. So the viewers can see for themselves. What you see on the chart is the filing date. USCIS has 2 dates, filing date and final action date. In the filing date, let's start with, say, EB-2 category. For China, the priority date is Jan 2022 filing date. And for India, it's 2014. So you're looking at literally 9 years. The people who file their green card before 9 years are able to file their 485 petition. But if you look at the EB-5 category, Other than the unreserved, for these two category, you have current on the spectrum.
Yeah. And Raghu, if I may, on the EB2, if you see India, for example, if I take India as an example, that is 12 years before, almost 12 years, right? 11 and a half years. November 2014 is the priority date. That means if your priority date is after that, 11 and last people who applied for the last 11 and a half years, okay, it's crazy bad. Meaning, there is no shot for most people unless there's a comprehensive immigration reform in this country, which doesn't seem to be on the cards right now. Oh, that's the 2013,
So,
even worse.
so
Okay.
basically, if someone has the priority date on November 1st, 2014, you are eligible to file your I-485.
Yeah.
So once you file your 485, you'll get your EAD and AP. But
Yeah.
the actual green card has been issued for somebody who has this date. So basically, government is queuing up like a year in advance of potentially who will become eligible. But the green card is being issued for somebody who has a priority date of September 13th or earlier. So literally you're looking at, even though on paper it looks 2013 to 2025, that's not the case. People who on 2013 would have filed, been in the US for probably a decade before the green card was even filed. So that is the weight that it adds up, but it's just that EB-5, it's much, much faster. You are at current, which means you can file your 485, you can file your EAD and AP application concurrently along with your 485 and 526. So if you have a spouse who's, for example, on F2 or H4, it gives them the opportunity to get an EAD, which allows them to start a business. They can work multiple jobs, and also somebody who is on EB2 or EB3 category, you are not going to be dependent on your employer's green card because this is a parallel track. If you get laid off on that one, there's a good chance that because you have 485 pending, you'll be still able to continue to stay in the US. And of course, you can confirm all these facts with your attorney, but that is the advantage you get from being on EB-5.
Yeah. And Raghu, if I may add, so the queuing is literally, some people say 100 years, if somebody in the last 5, 6 years. So that means in their lifetime, there's no chance, current dates wise. Okay. So it is, even though it's only this many number of years, it doesn't move because of the visa availability, because there are only certain number of visas and there's a country quota, cap on country quota, 7% country quota cap, right, on each visa. So that's why EB-5 is really the only practical option for most people who have graduated in the last 10 years, or been on H1, coming into H1 in the last 10 years. Other than that, there is no practical possibility of in this lifetime ever getting green card through EB2 and EB3.
All right. So we have the next slide about the EB-5 potential timeline, what applications are going to be filed and when.
Yeah. So the project applies for what is called 956F. We already did that in October. That's project application. We have the receipt, which we'll show you in the presentation down the road. So by the way, Raghu, next week I'm going for biometrics as one of the board members and principals of the project, New 3S. So we have got the biometrics for the project side, okay, the project owners, which is us. So we are pretty positive and have a good expectation of our 956F approval, that is the overall project approval, say within a few months, okay, couple of months, let's say. So, but
could
it's
you
on our
explain
side.
what is that 956 approval
Yes.
means for the potential investors?
Yes. And so, Raghu, that's a good question. So, in the RIA Act, what is called Reform and Integrity Act of 2022, where they modified EB-5, brought some good reforms into it. The Congress Act signed into the law by the president at that time. EB-5 is required. The projects can actually apply for pre-approval. That means they have a blanket approval, and all that will be left after that is the investor side, right? Their source of funds, are the source of funds legally obtained? the monies that are being invested, $800,000. So this is a project approval. It's a pretty important step. So the RIA Act of 2022 also brought in other reforms like audit requirements, more transparency, more compliance requirements on EB-5 projects, which is all good for the investor, by the way, and good for actual good projects. Good projects will always welcome that because there's so many bad actors at that point in time before that. So this is 956F, the blanket approval, the pre-approval, so as to speak, of the project. So we are on the way for that. And I'll show you the last slide of the presentation, literally the last one, showing our 956F receipt notice. And you will note that we pay close to $48,000, Raghu, the government filing fee for the project. 48K just for this part of the project, okay, on our side. So anyway, that's the project approval. And the investor petition, your 140 equivalent, I-140 equivalent, if you're familiar with EB2, EB3, is called I-526 here in this language, in the EB-5 process. And so you can directly apply, even when the project is 956F approval ongoing, you can still apply for an I-526 right away. And because if, for example, if you're from India, because India is current at this point in time, it allows you to concurrent filing of 485, which is your adjustment of status, which is great, which you can get, probably in this lifetime for most people in the last 10 years, EB2, EB3 wise, like I said, you can do it right now, 485 application, which allows you to apply for advanced parole, which is a travel authorization to re-enter the US, and EAD, which is employment authorization document, which gets you free from your current job, actually. If you want to be, you can be literally free the day you apply and file, well, the day you get approval of EAD and AP, not the day you apply I-526. 2, 3, 4 months later, you're free from your job, actually, because you have this EAD going on. So then it might take, a year or so to about 2 years, maybe 3, 12 to 30 months, it says, and you get your approval of 526. That means the visa is approved. And then because you already applied for 485, you're immediately moving to adjustment of status process, which will take about a few months, 4 to 12 months, and you get a conditional green card. What is a condition? It's a 2-year limit on it. Why is that there? Because in the past, this 526 and 485 are getting approved within 2 months. The project is starting, but the project yet hasn't created jobs. So USCIS waits for 2 years. That's why they give a 2-year green card. So that 2 years is for the project to speed up, create those jobs, those 10 jobs, that, and demonstrate that. And there, the last step, we apply for the job, what is called 829, to remove conditions on your green card once the 2 years is over on conditional. And they remove the conditions and it becomes a proper green card. By the way, this green card you're getting is same as every other green card, except it's for 2 years validity, right? The 2-year validity, 2-year limit is removed for forever, infinite. Right? Actually, I think they give for 10, 20 years renewable. So that is what it is. So in our case, by the way, when we talk about our project, you will see that we already have the jobs created. We don't have to wait for the 2 years. That's the good news here. And I'll tell you why when we go to our project. Okay. So job creation and monitoring and permanent green card. And the monitoring is done by a regional center, which sponsors the 956F petition. Actually, they're the applicant of 956F petition, and they monitor, they submit the compliance if USCIS asks about the jobs, and then the conditions are removed and you're free. So your investment has to stay on till your conditions are removed, your $800,000 investment in the project. So expect that to be 5 years and aggressively 7 years more practically for your investment to stay in the company into new commercial enterprise where you invest your $800,000.
Got it. So there's a question, Chuck. So basically, is the timeline for each step in which the case adds up to 6 to 8 years, or the 48 months the total time to start to finish?
Start to finish is that supposed to be the 48 months, but the, lots of times USCIS varies their processing times for 526. It can go really fast, we have seen. It can slow down significantly. Slow down significantly meaning a year, a year and a half. So that's why I would say expect 5 to 7 years. Aggressive side, 5 years. And look at this 20.5 months, which is good, which is a little less than 2 years for 526. That's 140 equivalent, right? Approval.
So
And
basically, this is the 526 is filed along with your 485, your EAD, and your AP. So
yes,
what that means is, once your 526 is approved, you are getting your conditional green card because your 485 is also pending at that point in time. So they probably will process that. So 526 is the first step. Once this is approved, your 485 is already pending. Then they will move on that to give you the approve that 485 to give you conditional green card.
yes, no more applications because 485 is already applied concurrently, right? Along with your 526 because of the current status. And that is why it's a concurrent processing. So, Gurang, to answer your question, so that is end to end. Expect 5 years aggressively, expect 7 years more practically, okay, for your investment to be staying in the new commercial enterprise. This is for
And
any project.
sure. And from the date of filing 526 485 EAD, you are most likely to get your EAD in 7 months' time. So that is also another opportunity because it gives you work authorization. And for somebody who is typically on, say, H1, if you have this EAD, you are able to also switch into this EAD and let go of your H1 if you require. So that's also
Yes.
another possibility that is available. The advantage that you have with your 485 application.
Big attraction, Raghu, is imagine being free from employer petitions. Means regardless whether you have a job or not have a job, once you have a EAD and your 485 is processing your adjusting status technically concurrently, so which means that you are eligible, you will never be out of status. And so that removes a lot of situations that people might have with ongoing jobs, job market, uncertainties, variations, fluctuations now, AI created disruption, and so many things that are coming down the pipeline.
Sure. Uh, I know the next question is coming up, how long it takes to get the travel document. The AP is getting about 19.5 months to be processed. So approximately, uh, it used to be a case where both EAD and AP are done
Would be, yeah,
at the same time, but
yep.
it's just that AP is taking longer. So about 20 months to get your advance parole document.
Yes. And
Okay.
Raghu, we all hear horror stories, right, of people being stuck, family situations, and
Mhm.
it's very tragic, even in case of death of a parent or something very bad. There are so many horror stories of people being stuck, and it is really, really sad. And so hopefully that'll give them a respite or relief if they have EB-5, they can afford to, of course, okay? And so getting an employment authorization in 7 months, that's processing time. Getting an advanced parole free document that allows you in and out access out of the US is a big blessing and a boon to many, many people.
Sure. Okay. So
Yeah.
now we have at least given you an overview of what an EB-5 is, the advantages that the family can get because of EB-5. Initially, Chuck touched upon that the money a foreign investor is going to invest is going to go create a new commercial enterprise, which is a job creating entity. So, Chuck and his team are the developers of New 3S project, which is based out in New York. So Chuck is now going to talk about what this project is all about and how does EB-5 tie into this project.
Yes, thank you, Raghu. So let's get into the project. So hopefully we've given you enough background information about EB-5. And your attorneys, of course, competent EB-5 attorneys in the country will be able to guide you, definitely. But moving into the project, the most important thing I want people to know about this project, right, is it's an operational project with four profitable business units under one umbrella, right? Even though we say new threes, originally we envisioned three, but we also added EV charging. as a fourth one. So we still like the way new the sound of the word new 3s. Okay, new threes. So it's a market cafe, which is an upscale market cafe, like a Starbucks or better. Think like that. It's a car wash attached in the same building. There is an express auto care for oil changes, tire alignment, wheel alignment, the light auto repair, and a EV charging that is there. So when people do EV charging, they look for place around. So what do I do for 15 minutes? Okay. Or 20 minutes. Oh, there's a market cafe. I charge my car, I can go to the market cafe. So even people with electric vehicles are coming for EV charging. So it is an amazing four business units under one roof. It's an operational business. You will hear many EB-5 projects as real estate businesses, where there is no operational component, right? Most of the jobs are construction. During construction phase, you need to create the jobs. In our case, since it's an operational business with tons of jobs, it's an ongoing, right from day one, you have job creation. We are not waiting for 2 years to demonstrate job creation. So this is tested, all these four units. Also, one thing, we are first to market combining this under one roof, under beautiful premises. And it's a flagship location about 3 miles from the JFK airport, one of the busiest arteries in this country for traffic, 18,000 plus cars a day. Okay. It's on 130-25 Merrick Boulevard. We would love for you to visit our site actually, and to see for yourself is absolutely mind blowing to see such a site like this. So it is right 3 miles, minutes away from JFK Airport, and clean restrooms. Think of Bucky's. If you have been in Texas to Bucky's, that was our inspiration actually. People love to go to Bucky's for various reasons, but definitely restrooms will come on top of it. Big, spacious place, right? On highway, people look for Bucky's stops. Next 75 miles, people say there's board 75 miles before that Bucky's is coming. So people are waiting for 75 miles, right? They don't want to stop nowadays at Love Stop and other places because Bucky's executed it with cleanliness, with great convenience under one roof. So think of this as the Bucky's movement in automotive related services, right? Car wash, auto care, having a cafe. Look at these pictures. By the way, our current pictures, Raghu, are much better than this. Some of this we are rendering, but if you see our actual pictures, and we would love to give you a site tour. That is auto care, spacious auto care, and car wash, market cafe, EV charging. One other thing I want to tell Raghu, when it comes to competition, I'll tell what's around it and why are we so sure about this project. By the way, this is not a pie in the sky future project like many EB-5 projects are. We'll open doors in 2 years. We are actually, what is today's date? Okay, we are 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks from opening the doors. First week of April. So our hiring is in process right now. So job creation, and we also have large enterprise grade software systems, automation systems, and everything. Uniformed staff, very professional staff. We have managers for each of these units. All of them are there on site now. Our back testing is done. Our beta testing and all those things are going on right now. So it's an exciting time for us. We are
So,
just
so,
weeks away. Yeah.
so Chuck, what you're telling us, let's say if somebody is going to invest in a construction project in some rural parts of the town, sometimes the project is just getting started. It's just basically a ground, empty plot of a land. But new 3 years, what you're telling us, the construction is done. You are ready to open the doors, which means all the market cafe, EV charging, everything has been already completed. What's the delay? What's that 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks delay?
Yes, it's called certificate of occupancy. That's the final certificate Department of Buildings, New York City, NYC DOB gives you. So we are actually having the inspection, the final inspection on Monday. It was supposed to be Friday, but the inspector didn't turn up. So Department of Buildings inspector, it does happen, but they told us they'll turn up on Monday. So once that is done, we actually have a what is called a certificate of occupancy issued right that day or next day, or a temporary certificate of occupancy that they issue, which they will tell you fix this two electrical things issues or whatever, right? So we have electrical inspection following that, and the plumbing thing. So, and we are done. So with that, we can open doors. So that's a 2 week delay. So unlike many EB-5 projects, which are 2 years away, breaking ground, they're collecting money. So by the way, you might wonder, why are we looking for EB-5 right now when we are done with everything, right? So the way we structured this project is we have taken a short-term loan on the project. It's called preferred debt, and we're replacing that with EB-5. That's allowed, by the way, in EB-5. So that's a big thing. So for instance, we spend what is called job creating entity. We'll come to that, by the way. JCE1, which is market cafe, car wash, and EV charging. We have split into two entities. So job creating entity JCE1. By the way, this is a specific EB-5 language. And if you ever seen EB-5 presentations or something, you will see a new commercial enterprise, you will see a job creating enterprise. So you enter your $800,000 enters the new commercial enterprise. And that loans the money to the job creating enterprise, which is a project. It's called a project, right? So in our case, we have two for historical reasons, business reasons. The second entity is the auto care. Remember, there are 4 business units. The 3 business units, market cafe, car wash, EV charging, fall under the first entity, JCE1. Express auto care falls in the second entity, JCE2. So right now, Raghu, if you go back to the slide earlier, so we spend right now use of funds. We already spent this money. That pie chart shows you where we spend it. We have raised that money, our own money, as well as our preferred debt investor money. About $5 million we spent, $5,093,000 for market cafe, car wash, and EV charging, right? So we are looking for 5 investors to go into this entity, 800K each. That is 4 million, right? 800,000 times 5. So we still will keep $1,093,000 as preferred debt on the books, but we are going to replace that expensive preferred debt that we have, the short-term debt we raised, with EB-5 funding. So the good news here is the project is not waiting for the EB-5 money to come in, and then we'll break ground, then we'll spend the money, construct all these things and create this business, and then we'll create jobs. No, we already raised the money. We raised it as a bridge capital to be replaced with EB-5 right from the beginning. So that means instantly when your money comes in, $800,000 is not working in the business for 2, 3, 4 years and then creating jobs. On day one, your $800,000 replaces the money that's spent, which created the jobs ongoing right away, right off the bat. So no 2 years for us, even though USCIS gives the 2 years, and that's a requirement, by the way. We are already finished with the job creation. So use of funds, JCE2, by the way, we are looking for 2 investors. Okay. We spend about, what is this, Raghu? $2.6 million, $2,619,082. It says for Express Auto Care, and we are looking for 2 investors, 1.6 million to be replacing that, and we still will hold $1 million as preferred debt. So a major portion of our short-term preferred debt, we're replacing with EB-5, total of 7 investors, 5 going into JCE1, 2 going into JCE2. That's total 7 investors we're looking for. So now a little bit about the finances of this project. Our projection, very conservative estimates, okay, is total revenue of $4.8 million in the first year itself for JCE1, which is market cafe, EV charging, and car wash, right? Total expenses is about operating expenses 2.6 million. That gives us EBITDA, which is the profit of 788, let's say $800,000 profit, net operating income in the first year itself on JCE1. And at 16.41%, which is pretty good, healthy margin of profit for this kind of business. And Auto Express Care is $1.9 million, close to $2 million in revenue. And if you take out the expenses of 500,000 plus operating expenses, that's close to $500,000 in profit, which is a EBITDA profit percentage of 22% almost, which is significantly good in this industry. So you have 800,000 plus 500,000, $1.3 million profit in the first year itself of this business. And by the way, this is our flagship location, meaning we're going to put everything to make this a successful model enterprise. Our goal is to roll out two more locations, one in New York City, one in Dallas and Houston at the end of this year. And in next year, second quarter, we want to have five more locations. So for EB-5. So we have a growth strategy and we want to make this a very successful concept like Bucky's and take it nationwide eventually to build hundreds of units like this. So what you're looking at is a flagship unit in New York City, the best place to do business in terms of revenues and all. And this is our leadership profile. We are four board members here. I'm one of them. Our chairman of the board is Upen Varanasi. And that's me, Chak Kakani, Krishna Garimella, and Mahavir Jain. So, by the way, together, four of us on this board have more than $1 billion of exits in our past businesses. And that's significant, by the way. So this is not a green team. We are not playing with your money. It's a team which has deep experience in enterprise with entrepreneurial experience, scaling experience, management experience, and more importantly, the maturity and the integrity of the management team. I want to say a word about that, Raghu, here. More than anything in EB-5, by the way, use the same criteria when you evaluate EB-5 projects, whether you go with us or not, eventually. I'm good, but use this benchmark criteria for any project you would evaluate in EB-5, meaning what is the depth and the maturity of the management team? How many years of entrepreneurial experience do they have? What kind of other exits do they have? How did they treat their investors in those exits, right? Why did they become so successful? Like in our case, for instance, it's because of the maturity, enterprise scaling, deep experience, and integrity of our management team. So number one thing is integrity of management team. Now, this shows you how EB-5 helps us grow. The actual reason projects look for EB-5. Even though it's painful because it comes at $800,000 tranche, right? And retail investor kind of thing, each investor putting 800,000, there's some timeline there. And in our case, we did the smart thing by actually raising the money, finishing the construction, creating the jobs, and opening the doors, and replacing that with EB-5. Unlike many projects which are actually waiting for the investor money, right? So for us, EB-5 is a replacement of short-term debt capital, which is expensive interest-wise, with a little longer-term EB-5 capital, which is more stable from the project perspective and less interest according to market values of the interest rate, even though we believe we pay EB-5 investors 1.5%, which is pretty high. There are many projects which pay 0.25 nominal interest, right? Because really you're looking for your green card and your money coming back and not as an investment. So let's say they pay a nominal fee like a small bank account, like even a like savings account kind of thing, right? In our case, we're paying 1.5, which is 3 times more than prevailing good projects, or even 4 times more of interest rate, 1.5%. So for us, they're getting capital, even though our expense, by the way, is more than 1.5. It's close to 4% for raising EB-5 capital. But it's better than our short-term debt at 12 to 16%, right? That is why we look for EB-5 money to replace our short-term debt. Now, why is our project the advantage as an advantage and one of the very smartest choices? By the way, remember EB-5 has 2 main categories. One is called urban, one is called rural. And rural projects are given priority over urban projects, right? In EB-5, new EB-5 law, the RIA of 2022. So, but there's an exception. Urban projects which fall under target employment area where unemployment is higher than the national average, they will have the same status as a rural project. Now, why were the rural projects, specially marked for special treatment and priority by the law? Because they're rural. Rural has less people, means project has less revenue, right? They want to create more jobs in rural areas. And that's why they want EB-5 money. What's the negative side? What's the positive of that? You get priority, right? Your status is current, fast processing of EB-5 526. What is the negative for an EB-5 investor in rural projects? The negative is less revenue. the project can fail. Revenues might not come through because of the less number of people in rural area. But even though many people get attracted to rural projects, say, hey, I have a rural project, it's top project. Yeah, sure. Yeah, your EB-5, you have priority, but if the project doesn't exist, revenues don't come through. Why are revenues important? One, the project has to have enough revenues so that there's enough profitability to give your money back. But more importantly, the project has to have enough revenues to create the jobs. By the way, revenue of a project and job creation are linked in EB-5. The USCIS, when it evaluates projects, remember many projects, unlike ours, we are already operational, about to open doors, we have actual jobs, but many projects are banking on the business plan. Business plan is futuristic, right? So they are filing a business plan with the USCIS and they're telling this is the jobs we are going to create. So USCIS evaluates, how do they evaluate whether the project creates jobs without the project being operational? They do that by seeing revenue projections. Does this project revenue projections appear practical, possible, right? That's what USCIS sees. And that's why rural projects are a bit risky because revenues are risky because people are less. So job creation is risky, in my opinion, right? So in our case, we have super strong revenue stream. We are not only urban, we are actually super urban, meaning New York City, the top urban of urban, right? Uber urban area. And we are a urban and we are TEA. That means we get the same priority as rural. So the rural advantage is mitigated, but with super advantage that you have strong revenue, guaranteed job creation because of the revenues and because of jobs, we already have hiring people. So that is the best part of it. And there's a high resale value. Next question comes is, will I get my money back? There are three exit paths for us in this project. And that's important. First question you should ask is, will I really get green card? Meaning, will the jobs be created? In our case, it's a no-brainer. You have to ask that question for rural projects. Will it really work? Will revenues come into this project? Yes, I know it's rural. Everybody says rural is the way to go, right? But then if your revenue doesn't come, jobs are not created, no green card, right? So while there is promise of current priority date and high priority in the queue, ultimately you might be at risk. So second question is, will I get my money back? Right? That should be a second question, important question. First, will the project create jobs? First question you should ask any project, not just us, any project to evaluate. Second question is, will I get my money back? So for us, there are three paths to get money back. By the way, in EB-5 language, it is called, what is your exit plan? That is a question you should be asking projects, right? So our exit plan, number one, is we can have resale of this. We can sell this unit. While we are continuing to build other units, we can sell this unit. And usually when you see our revenues, usually projects sell at multiple of revenues. Our revenue is close to $6.8 million, JCE1 and JCE2 combined. Or they sell in the multiples of EBITDA, which is net operating income, right? Which is $1.3 million for us. So look at this. If you sell it 10 times EBITDA, or if you sell it 3 times or 4 times the revenue, our project can have upwards of $13-15 million when we sell it. So obviously the 7 investors times $800,000, the $5.4 million of EB-5 money can be returned. The second way that we can return the money is, from our net operating income. We have a very strong profit margins, right? 1.3 million in the first year itself. We can, Raghu, 1 second. So we can do that by second way. Third way is we can actually go for a long-term operating loan on the project. If we are performing very well, why do we want to sell it? And if we want further expansion, we don't want to take the money from operating income, we can actually raise money on this project strength and return the money to you. Yes, we'll pay little higher interest, but 3 possible exit paths for you. That's why it's a lower investment risk, because number one, jobs are guaranteed pretty much right from day one. Number two, return of your money is secure because of the project finances, project location, project dynamics, and the management team. Thanks, Raghu. Sorry, please go ahead. Yeah. So, Raghu, this is about job creation. So our JCE1 Market Cafe car wash at EV charging, is slated to create, what is this? About 36 direct jobs, manpower. Okay, right from within the first couple of months of us opening the doors. I think we already have offer letters out, Raghu, for 24 employees.
Okay.
We are sure to actually fill the other uh, 12 employees for JCE1. And we have offer letters out to 7 of them in JCE2. They've accepted the offer. We're waiting for a certificate of occupancy and starting. So 18 plus 36, 54 direct jobs. By the way, what are direct jobs? Those are W2 payroll that we have. There's one more thing. If some of those employees quit, hopefully not, looking at our management style, the kind of managers we are, we have appointed, we are the board, we appointed pretty good executive team to run this. We have very long-term thinking. But if they quit and some other person joins in that, that's considered a new job, by the way. Don't ask me why. That's how USAS counts full-time jobs. So even though we say 54, by the way we know the churn in this industry for some of the jobs, certain jobs, we know actual job creation will be probably 3 times that. But we want to be very conservative. And now we use the economist model. This is standard. We use what is called RIMS2 model, input-output model. By the way, that is what USAS accepts. So you take the W2 jobs and you have economic analysis done by proper entities, right? You do that RIMS2 input-output model and you create what is called the EB-5 qualified jobs. So for example, we pay our workers, right? Our employees, they spend in grocery store. So they create revenue and that revenue creates jobs in the grocery store, the baggers, the packers, the managers. And those people, they take their money, they go out and spend in some other store, it reduces. So economists have these models for a long time. This model is called RIMS2, which is one of the models that USAS accepts from proper economists. By the way, we spend tens of thousands of dollars for economist reports and business plans, which we have done all that stuff. It's not cheap to have a project ready for EB-5, right? So we do that. And so direct jobs, indirect jobs, induced jobs, if you add all of them together, we have 140 jobs. The EB-5 rules say 10% of your total jobs have to be direct. That is 10% of 140, which means 14 jobs have to be direct. Remember, our direct jobs are 66 here, right? And so what you see here is a project that has more than half of the jobs are direct jobs, actually. You're allowed to have 10% only as direct jobs. So we are very attractive project in terms of job creation from every count. And we have enough buffer because remember, each EB-5 investor needs to create 10 jobs. Their investment needs to create 10 jobs. So 7 investors were looking for $800,000 each. That is 70 jobs. We have 140 jobs here. So that's a little bit about jobs, Raghu. And this last slide here is a 956F receipt notice, the pre-approval of the project. So yeah, Raghu, thanks for highlighting that. Look at that, 47,695 is the filing fees for this. By the way, the other filing fees, the 829 step, I think we pay about $15,000-$20,000. We pay several $1,000s for the first step. So in between, not just that, the economist charges, the project charges, and the legal charges to create this investor documents, PPM, the private placement memorandum. So what most people don't know, EB-5 projects literally spend a few $100,000 to make a project EB-5 ready. That's why usually with 7 investors, people don't go for EB-5 projects, right? But we do because we know there is still a good viability for us because of this. This is our project legal team, Mona Shah Associates. That's Ms. Shah, Ms. Singh, Rebecca Singh, Mr. Lerner. And these are attorneys. Your first point of contact probably will be Rebecca Singh. And if you are going with our project attorney, by the way, this is our project legal team, and you have a choice as an investor to go with your legal team, but we would highly encourage you to give it a look and talk to this legal team because they know this project inside out. So here is a contact information. Please take a picture of this, and the phone number there and the WhatsApp number same is one of our board members, Mr. Mahavir Jain, who is not present today. Typically, he's there on these calls. And please make a note of this 713-449-3509. And you may WhatsApp Mahavir. And and then the second email comes to the board and our staff, which handles EB-5, EB-5 at nu3s.com. Okay. Simple email address to remember. The third email is Miss Jane here, Yukti, Yukti.Jane at growthaxel, AXL, GROTHAXL, axel.com. So Yukti is wonderful. She is right here. She can be your first point of contact too and do all the needful. Any question, pick up the phone, call Yukti or call our board member directly. One thing, most EB-5 projects, the big ones, do not give you access to their board members like we do. We have taken this step that I'm available as a board member on this call. Mahavir Jain is your first point of contact. Yukti is there for anything that you guys need to contact us with. I would highly encourage you all to set up the one-on-one time. Send an email to Yukti, send a WhatsApp to Mahavir, set up a time, and eventually I'll be there to, if you want to, as a follow-up and actually answer your question on one-on-one. This is regarding the project. Even a bit of advice about a source of funds, even though I'm not an attorney, you will speak to your attorneys about the source of funds, which is another big step. Is your money legally acquired, right? And how does it work practically? So these are the questions you might want to get answered. So that's what I have, Raghu, for today. So hope that helps. And
Sure, sounds good, Chuck.
Q&A.
So we have a question. And for listeners, if you have any question, go to the Q&A tab and post your questions. We'll be able to read and Chuck will be able to answer your questions. So the question from Rutik, what is the timeline for investment money outflow, all 800K at once, or is it split?
Yeah. Now, the one thing is to file 526, you will need to have the entire $800,000 deposited into the new commercial enterprise bank account, okay? New 3's NCE. So your project subscription documents will have all the information, wiring information and everything. Of course, that's after the follow-up steps, meeting with the attorney team. Attorneys will guide all this process, by the way, not us. We can say, oh, this is the thing. No, every step is attorney driven in EB-5, which is good for you, good for us. The project step, we'll of course introduce you to the attorney team. If you don't have one, they're the best in the EB-5. So you can talk to our attorney team and start the process. But to answer your question, $800,000 is a lump sum investment to do. Now, you might hear sometimes EB-5 projects will talk about partial filing. Okay. In my opinion, partial filing is done when somebody is saying, say, having sale of land in India. Okay. Their money is stuck for the next 1 month, but they want to get the priority date secure. They have $700,000. Last 100K is missing, right? It's on the way. So don't do partial money for the funds you don't have plans for. And don't do EB-5 by putting yourself in extreme distress and jeopardy. That's my advice. But do partial filing. We don't like partial filing, obviously, because it delays your 526 processing, and which is not advantageous to you. But if you have the last 100K or 200K coming in, it's there. There's logistics challenges that is delaying it by 1-2 months. The priority date is current right now for India. Let's say you're from India. For urban TEA, you might want to secure your priority date and file it. Yes, then go for it. But again, I'm not your advisor there. Your attorneys will advise whether partial filing is good for you or not. But partial filing is there, but don't use it.
Okay. And what about somebody, let's say they have invested, and earlier you said they're going to get 1.5% in interest. Is that going to be paid yearly, or it's going to be paid one-time check towards the end? How
Yes.
does that 1.5% work?
Raghu, the second one is correct. So the 1.5% interest we're paying to the investor is accrued in the books and paid at the end of the term.
Okay.
Meaning 5 years, let's say, Raghu, $800,000, 1.5% is $12,000 a year interest, simple interest. It's accrued, say 5 years, 12 times 5 is 60K. So you're getting back 860K when you get your money back.
Okay. And when can one expect the investment money to be returned?
I would say 5 to 7 years because you have to keep your money in the project until all conditions are met and your green card has conditions removed at the last step. So our assessment is that it might take 5 years, but for your peace of mind, anticipate 7. So I would say the range is 5 to 7 years. You're looking at locking your $800,000 in the project, but because that's the processing time of green card. It's not our rules, by the way. It is the USCIS process. Your money, $800,000 by law has to be at risk, means it has to be in the enterprise for all the time that your green card processing is going on. And second rule is it has to be at risk. Means that nobody can say, I'll give you a guarantee, I'll give you a securitization, I'll collateralize your money, right? So by the way, sometimes projects do this, we hear, for marketing purposes, but please don't buy it. In reality, in EB-5, there's no collateralization. They might produce papers or some document showing you some kind of securitization or collateralization or priority of your debt. I would say take it with a pinch of salt. It's marketing gimmick. And we don't want to do all those marketing things on you because we know the law. We understand that. So please understand, investor money in EB-5 is at-risk capital, which has to be non-securitized, non-collateralized. That means no guarantees, no securitization as a backup, and that has to be there in the project for the entire duration of your green card.
Okay, got it. Got a couple of more questions. If everything is already in operations, does this project qualify as an at-risk project?
Oh, yes. In fact, one of the first things is every investment is at risk, by the way, when you make an investment anywhere. In fact, I think every activity is at risk. Your job is at risk because tomorrow, next month, you don't know, right? So in that sense, every business enterprise, commercial enterprise is at risk. What USAS means by at risk specifically means somebody cannot promise in the project, I will collateralize, means against my assets of the project, I'll collateralize and provide some guarantee in case project goes bankrupt. Such things are not by law proper in EB-5.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Okay. And second part of the question, what happens if jobs were created for 1.5 years, but the project shuts down before 2-year conditional period? What happens to the investment and what happens to the petition?
Okay. There are cases when if job creation is satisfied, if in unlikely scenario the project closes doors, goes bankrupt, let's take worst case scenario. Okay. But by the way, you need to check with your attorneys about all these things. Okay. Mine is an advice, which is not an attorney advice, mind you. So having said that, that disclaimer, that caveat, there are instances where project has created jobs, everything was fine, but some issues came in, say year number 4 or year number 3, project shut down, went bankrupt, the money is gone, but jobs are created. So there are cases where people's money has gone, but green card is done. So at least green card is there, right? And it's like buying a green card in that case, like that, other things, other programs now popping up, right? But that is the worst case scenario. There are scenarios where money comes back, but jobs are not created. There's no green card, your money is back. Okay, that's not good actually. There are scenarios, happy scenarios, where your money is back, jobs are created. First, you get your green card, your money is back, and even interest is back, right? So that's the scenario. Looking at the dynamics of our project, we don't anticipate such scenarios for us because of the management team, because of the resale value of our project, and because of New York City's revenue, the foot traffic, the cars that are there, the business economics of the business or the numbers of the business. Fortunately, we don't anticipate that. But having said that, there's always a risk. No project is guaranteed, isn't it?
Yep. All right. Sounds good. And Any other questions from attendees who are here with us on Zoom? Another question, which family members can be included in the application?
Yes, the for EB-5 is a very good visa program where a person, their spouse, and their kids under 21, which is the age out age, are included. I'm just giving an example. Not that I expect somebody to have 7 kids, but they can. Okay, somebody has 7 children, and so it's 9 green cards. My
Okay.
husband, wife, 7 children. Okay, just extreme example, but 2 children, two spouses, one spouse. So then the spouse 2 + 2 4. So everybody's included. Everybody below, not parents, and that's not dependent. So that's your non-age out kids below 21.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And if somebody wants to visit the project, is there an option for them to travel to New York, meet with your team so that they can see for themselves in person the project and the cafe and the car wash and everything?
We would be thrilled because one of the most exciting things about this project, it's real, it's there, it's operational. It's not we're digging a hole and a big building is going to come here and we have to show you renderings, okay, and project plans and business plans for a future project. So this is an operational project about to open doors in 2.5 weeks, and there is nothing for us better than an investor wanting to come there. We would love to host you. We have amazing staff on site, our managers, and yeah, look for yourself. Drink our coffee, taste the food in Market Cafe, and yeah, if you got a car, bring it. Okay, if you rent a car for car wash, and if you come in Uber, ask that guy to do the car wash there. Okay, but we wanted to actually see our business and experience our business, and we would encourage that, and we would love it.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Thanks, Chuck. I think we don't have any more questions. So we are right on time, just about a minute and a half over. So if you have any questions, let me share the contact
Raghu,
information one more time.
as you're putting the contact slide, may I request Yukti to say a quick hello?
Sure.
Yukti, sorry, I was in a flow. I couldn't pull you up earlier, but thank you for being here. And you're a very valuable employee in this project. And I want you to just quickly introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Chuck. Indeed, it's been really great working with you, with Growth Axel team. Everybody here is amazing. Hello, everyone. This is Yukti Jain. I work with Chuck and the other board members, and we here are creating an amazing project here. As you can see, as Chuck has explained very beautifully, that New 3S is actually up and running, and we will be live in just a few months. So we're all here. Newsreels, the EB-5 journey might be difficult for you, but we are here to help you out, answer any questions that you have, so that you may get started in this journey and just be there for you. So please reach out to us. My email ID is mentioned. Mahavir's contact number is mentioned, and we'll be more than happy to answer any queries that you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuti. Appreciate it. And Raghu, it's been a pleasure to be on this platform. And like I mentioned, we love to encourage people and educate them, whether ultimately they want to go with us or not. That's been our motto always. And hopefully, we have given you some very good objective criteria: integrity of management team, revenue potential, urban, but at the same time, TEA, economics of the business, a viable business now about to be operational, jobs already in the process of being created, and also exit plan and others. So you can make a list of the 7, 8 criteria. And my encouragement for everyone is that have a list of the 7, 8 criteria, educate yourself pretty well, apply the same criteria to any business that comes your way, and also learn how to resist marketing gimmicks like securitization, collateralization, and stuff like that, which, and ask people like us. End of the day, if you choose to go with someone else and you think by this criteria that's a better project, we absolutely wish you all the best, and we would be very happy that our advice has worked. But we know very well, having said that, if you use this objective criteria, we will definitely come out on top of it. So I would encourage you to get yourself educated, speak to us, And this is the kind of approach we have taken, Raghu. As you know, that's why you have us on this platform. Unlike a different approaches we have seen in this kind of industry, which is very, very competitive, highly competitive. But we want to take this kind of approach because this is the approach we have taken outside EB-5 in all our businesses. So that's what I
Okay.
want to say.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Yukti.
Definitely.
We will see you guys all on another live session. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you, Raghu. See you soon.
Thank you,
Bye.
Raghu.
Bye,
Yes.
Yuki. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Giving it one more minute before the live session reaches the Facebook. Okay, there it is. Sounds good.